Have you ever been in love? Like, with a video game, I mean. I'm sure there are several, but that one. That first one that popped into your head. Do you remember when you realized you were in love with that game? Was it love at first sight, or did you not realize until it was over? Was there some defining moment in the middle, or maybe you don't remember at all, and that's okay too, but for me, personally, and a lot of my favorite games, I can pinpoint that exact moment that I knew that I was in love. And I find that fascinating. It was only recently that I started a new game and I fell in love with it, and the idea for this video wormed its way inside of my head. And it's a game that a lot of people seem to be falling for. It's the prettiest boy at the ball, the early GOTY contender for 2025. The winner of this year's annual, no, but for real, turn-based games totally still suck and this one's just different somehow, award. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. As of the time I first began writing this script, I wasn't even done with Act 1. I had just gotten the fourth party member, and yet I knew that I was in love. A bit of time has passed since then, and I now sit here recording at a future date, and I'm partway through Act 2 and still very sure about that fact. But I wasn't so sure about it going in. The pre-release trailers looked cool and showed some gameplay overviews of ideas I liked, but also some that I really didn't. I tend to like turn-based games because they are slow and cozy to play. I shy away from games like Paper Mario that require constant QTEs to perform well. Then Clair Obscur released to raving reviews, and I decided I'd give it a try. I figured I was curious, so why not? Let's stream it and see what happens. And I'm very glad that I did, because it allowed me to capture the exact moment that I fell in love. Sometimes you can just tell that they did the concept art and then they were able to put it directly in the game. I really like this game so far. I've been talking a bunch and being a dipshit, but I'm gonna keep playing this on my own in a much more quiet and thoughtful environment. And that tends to be how it goes. Some moment or visual or gameplay mechanic shows up and you just know. The various joys and excitements finally bubble over and you're head over heels. Okay, yes, this video does exist only so I can gush about some of my favorite games. Before we move on, there will be some spoilers. If you want to be really cautious, close the video and go play Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, Neon White, and The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, and then you can come back. I've done my best to include spoiler warning cards for each section that details the kind of content and the amount of it that is spoiled in that section, but like, they're worth playing if you want to, so go do that. Alright, still here? Let's go! Metal Gear Rising Revengeance is a game built around moments. The series has always been wacky, but Revengeance is nothing like its quiet, stealthy forefathers. In fact, it's loud and brash, and races through its short 4 to 5 hour runtime as quickly as it possibly can. As such, falling in love with Metal Gear Rising is more akin to running off and getting hitched in Vegas. It wants to seal that deal as quickly as it can. In fact, it popped the question right there in the prologue, and I was giddy to say yes. It's been 12 years since then, and we're still happily married. Is this metaphor feeling forced yet? Revengeance starts with a short, quiet limo ride with Metal Gear Solid 2 protagonist slash Metal Gear Solid 4 Cool Robot Man riding, waxing poetic about deterrence with the leader of a developing African nation. That lasts for all of about 2 minutes before a mysterious hot cyborg samurai shows up and starts cutting everything and everyone in half with his very cool katana. From there, things don't stop rolling. You learn what the buttons do really quick, and then you're racing through a bunch of dudes at incredible speed, exploding all of their limbs off, and then a big bald dude cuts off some other guy's head with his silly scissors swords, and oh, what's that? That's the scary robot from the end of MGS2. That's fine. Our metal cyborg twink shall simply cut it in half with a samurai sword. And pay attention, because this is where the proposal happens. It's right here. It's at this moment that you really know what the game is all about. how this game has leapt out of the shadow and legacy of its namesake and is ready to do its own thing. How it has no interest in being the best Metal Gear game it can be, and instead is prepared to be the best action game out there. And while Nier Automata may go on to be one of my favorite games of all time, more on that in a future video, whoa, I still hold Metal Gear Rising up as the pinnacle of the genre. It's sat on that pedestal since about 25 minutes into February 19th, 2013. However, not all love stories can go so smoothly. Some start a little rocky, but luckily a bumpy road can still lead to love. That was the case for one of my all-time favorite games, Neon White. The only game in my top 10 that comes with a laundry list of caveats and warnings. Even still, it's earned a spot in my list and in my heart. Neon White is a game for freaks by freaks, so says the marketing, and I can't argue with that. It's a speedrunning game. You rush through short levels as fast as you possibly can, shooting all of the demons to unlock the goal. Shooting the demons does kind of oversell what the gunplay is. Demons are stationary and in fixed positions. They fire projectiles at you, but you're essentially breaking targets. Think of Mirror's Edge and not Doom. The goal is to move fast and post your times to the leaderboard, which very smartly default to showing where you stand amongst your friends. It's fun because it's competitive. That requires knowledge and mastery, and those aren't things you're gonna have going in. It's the gameplay that carries it. You do a run blind, you get a bronze or silver medal, you head back in and do it faster and cleaner, and you get a gold. You see that your friend beat you by 8 full seconds somehow, so you try again and discover a shortcut. You get a platinum medal, and you beat your friend's time by a fraction of a second. So then you get to send them a very smug Discord message with a screenshot. That's the fun, and that's the high that you chase. Want to graduate to an even harder high? The game has secret hidden red medals that represent the devs' times on each level, so you can beat those too. Still not good enough? Good news, you're not the only sicko out there. I'm right here, and so is the Neon White speedrunning community, which has a very cool mod that adds even more medals with even more times to beat. And if you aren't a full-on freak yet, well, then you'd have to be pulled along by the game introducing new weapons and movement mechanics and enemy types as it goes. Levels get longer and more complex, and that isn't necessarily a good thing if the super fast, tight levels from the intro are what hooked you. Suddenly, you really gotta learn these levels. You might not even be able to clear them on your first attempt anymore. It's this that almost made me hate it. In particular, these evil fuckers. Mimics. You shoot them, and instead of advancing to your goal, they explode into projectiles that will instantly kill you. You need to make very sure you're safe from their counterattack in order to destroy them. It's a big-time momentum killer, and it made me quit the game for a while. A bit of time passed and no hard feelings. I had my fun, but I was done with it. A quick fling, no different than the majority of games we play. And then the real magic pulled me back in. Some smug friend sent me a new screenshot of them beating a time I worked really hard for. Can't have that, so I booted the game back up, grinded that old level, and boom, new friend circle record. But wait, somebody finished the game when I wasn't playing, and that's basically them beating my time on dozens of levels by default. That can't happen, so let's skip some more cutscenes and finish this bad boy off. With more experience, those annoying tricks started to feel more natural. With more time came more mastery, and more mastery led to a deeper love. In time, I had beaten the game and beaten the dev times and beaten my friends and downloaded a community mod to start beating more of those times. Still, the more I play, the more into it I am. I'm walking away from this video loving it even more because I've spent time playing to capture the necessary footage. It took some doing, but I have fallen so deeply in love with this whole game. Except for this one stupid ass part where you have to do a reverse phantom, and this bit where you have to nail this grenade line. This part where... In some incredibly rare cases, it can be the exact opposite of that. It's only happened to me for one game, but it has happened. True love at first sight. In fact, it happened so quickly that I don't think I even need the spoiler warning card. I only need to talk about the first few minutes to explain how I discovered my greatest love in gaming. how I became totally obsessed with The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. A little background, because I did also know this going in, Trails is a sub-series of The Legend of Heroes created by Falcom. At this point, there are far more Trails games than there are any other entries in The Legend of Heroes. They're practically synonymous. As of now, there are 13 total games in the Trails series and only 5 other games that are part of the franchise. They're split into their own arcs, but they're all deeply tied to each other and form one continuous story. As such, you should really start with The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, and good news, there's a remake coming in just a few months. I first took interest in the series because the first game of the third arc, Trails of Cold Steel, showed up in my Steam recommendations and looked like a neat JRPG. A quick Google search revealed that there were a small handful of people that were not only incredibly passionate about the game, but were super into 5 games worth of world building and lore. The remake still wasn't a sparkle in anyone's eyes at this point, but I still figured, hey, in for a penny, in for a pound, and I bought Trails in the Sky instead. I share all this because it's important to understand my expectations going in, and also so I can try to sell you on the series a little bit. This isn't an ad, but I would gladly make one. Falcom, please. I would sell out so hard, so quick. I booted the game up ready to see the world, to be immersed in world building like I had never seen. A more pessimistic person probably would have scoffed at the levels of praise I was seeing in these small online communities, but it's more fun to like stuff than to hate stuff, so I try to go in with an open heart. Open to join in on the fun. Let's walk through the start of this game a little bit. You see the first time our dual protagonists meet, a young girl's father brings home an injured boy. He's all dark and broody, but Estelle is having none of it. Then one cool character-filled anime intro later, and we jump to the present day. We see how this relationship has changed now that Joshua has joined the family, and it's, not a lot. Estelle is still brash and quick to tease, and Joshua is still all cool and mysterious, but they understand each other now, and they know what buttons to press to get a rise out of each other. We've only known them for a short while, but their personalities are already very clear, and we have a couple cool heroes to follow. Off they go. It's time to take the bracer exam, whatever that is. Oh, and make sure to pick up Dad a copy of the newspaper when you're in town. They have given me control, and I do what any good gamer would do. I start mashing buttons. I find the menu. It's got some nice character art, some standard JRPG equipment slots, and oh, some kind of materia system. I like those, and I don't know what this is, some kind of element-based XP system, and oh, battle formations. Okay, this is a little bit complicated, and I don't understand any of it. Let's get moving. And this is where it happened. These next few seconds are where I knew I was in love. Thinking back on it now, it is shockingly early to think that I know nothing. I have not seen any of this fabled world building. I am 1% of 1% into the first game into a 12 game long series, and yet this is where I know. Pay attention because you might miss it. It's totally unassuming, a practically meaningless moment that you would never think twice about, but it stole my heart. Did you catch that? Did your soul stir like mine did? No? Okay, here, look again. Yeah, that. Just that. Something about that camera rotation immersed me in the world like never before. I think it's just because I didn't expect to be able to. The earlier scene did show a rotating pan of the environment, but that was just a cutscene. This style of game, this kind of presentation, the mixed use of 3D graphics and 2D sprites harkens back to like Final Fantasy VII, and you're not rotating any cameras in that game. Estelle and Joshua's sprites snap on 45-degree angles as if they are desperately trying to keep up with the rest of the world, but I can see the back of the house, the area where they practice their fighting skills, the pond. Every side of the house is fully modeled and detailed. I still can't explain why this matters so much to me, but something about this carefully crafted diorama just transported me into the world. But who can really describe what love is? It has been 6 years since I first played Trails in the Sky. I have put in a cumulative 1,042 hours into the Trails series at this point, and I am not even caught up. I am barely into the newest English release, and the West is still a game behind Japan, but through all of that, my love has never wavered for a second. There are plenty of games that have come before and after that I would say that I love, but none like this. As we prepare for the release of the Trails in the Sky remake, I am excited and hopeful that more people will have the opportunity to discover the series that means so much to me. There is so much to love along the way. Yet, a little part of me is saddened knowing that new fans will probably never experience the tiny, insignificant, meaningless camera rotation that meant so much to me. But that's okay. If that camera rotation was the only part of the Trail series that I loved, I would not be playing them still. It is one little moment that doesn't mean much, but it is the moment that I knew that I was in love. There are far too many games that I love to continue to list them, so that's it for now. Thanks for sticking around and listening to me gush about stuff that means a lot to me. I would love to hear about yours, so leave a comment telling me your love story if you would like. I'd be happy to read them. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you're interested in how it was made, I do have a Patreon now that has free behind-the-scenes content like the script and editing notes and outtakes. If you really want to support me, you can pay to have some extra silly stuff and also have your name appear in the credits like whoever ends up right here that managed to sneak their way in before this was published. And if you have no interest in any of that kind of stuff, I still want to say thanks for watching this whole video. All right, goodbye.